It's time to rock and roll!
Just gonna hop into it. We'll talk Tim
Well,
Burton. And,
are you gonna go like 5 to 1
oh, for
alternating?
you know
Yeah.
what? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think we could alternate. Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Waffle Press Movie Hangouts. I'm your host, Diego Crespo. With me today is not my co-host, Universa. That was Jack Godwin.
Hello. How's it going?
It's going good. My cat's gonna walk across the screen in a second if I don't stop her. And then also with us is Michael Scott. Just kidding. That's Max Deering. How's it going?
Good, good. For a moment you said Michael Scott, and I didn't think of Mike for me. I thought of what's his name from the fucking Office, and yeah, as someone who's actually only seen like maybe a handful of episodes, I was like, oh, that's unfortunate.
Well, we're here to talk about Tim Burton's, like, our favorite top 5 Tim Burton movies and Beetlejuice a little bit. But I want to now dive into that because The Office has become a hot button topic on the internet, especially recently again because everyone saw the commercial for the Australian version adaptation, and everyone's like, "That looks bad." But I haven't seen it. That just seems to be the response. But Max, do you like The Office? Having just seen a
uh,
handful?
I just seen a handful. I don't actually have a whole ton of experience or desire to. Not to think that it's bad or anything. I think I missed that window.
Mhm.
Um, but I do think, all the love and outpour for 30 Rock, that's the one that I might actually sit down because I've seen bits of The Office, but nothing is as funny as that scene from 30 Rock where Baldwin and Tracy Morgan, they're reenacting his family. I yeah, that was legitimately some of the funniest shit I had seen in a while.
Jack, have you seen 30 Rock?
I've seen 30 Rock through a million YouTube clips, but not really episodes. I just appreciate the craft of some of their jokes. They're just so dense. Where
Mhm.
there's one joke about improv and Oprah, which is like actually like 10, like it's like 5 jokes in like a quick like 3 line piece of dialogue. So yeah, no, it's really impressive, but I haven't jumped in yet.
Yeah, it's worth it. Yeah, I'm more of a 30 Rock guy. Always love The Office, but 30 Rock is just fucking every time I see like a screen cap joke, even I'm like, yep, retweet. That's one of the funniest things ever. Most of it even aged very well. Like there's an
Mm.
early Bill Cosby joke in there, and now you can kind of look back and be like, oh
Oh,
no. But
you know
that's
what
we're
it
not gonna
is?
talk about that.
I have a bit of a bad association with The Office, and it's not necessarily bad. One of my roommates back when I was in school in like 2014, 2015, one of my roommates, he would watch that and Suits all the time, but it was not Suits. It was something. Psych was
Mhm.
the thing he watched all the time, but it was mostly The Office. So I just have in my head all I have is that incested fucking theme song, and I just like it. Just to me, it just said something like you're annoying. Watch something else. Do something else in your life. God, you're so fucking white. Get out of my face.
I tell you what, I actually had a really similar experience when I was younger, where a roommate would just listen to, would watch The Office on repeat, and I mean, I liked the show at the time, but it was just every day, and I would wake up with the distant sound of the theme tune, and I could see how that can drive you crazy, especially if you don't even like you haven't even seen the parts of the show that you would like.
Yeah. And like he had Netflix, so I know he could have skipped it, but he didn't. Just like it's not that good.
Well,
You can
listen,
you
I'm not even defending that theme song. I'm just anti like skip intro. I think that bullshit. I'm not even like a Netflix hater. I think they have their place in the marketplace if they adjust properly. But I
Higher
hate the like
Diego.
I think skip intro and skip credits. I hate that shit. I hate the fucking we're all adults here at least, You should be able
Mhm.
to sit down and roll through the credits. We don't get commercials anymore with streamers for the most part. So you sit through credits. I think everyone needs that
Yeah.
little 30, 45-second break, go to the restroom, get water if you're doing a marathon, whatever,
Mhm.
And so I have very like specific stances about television lately, I'm realizing.
Yeah. You haven't done your episode where you went all in on the acolyte. I'm still waiting for that.
I know, you know what? Gina and I talked about it, and it was just like, when the fuck are we gonna do this? Not even like it's not like we're packed with podcast stuff. It's just like, God, when the fuck? Gene's off making his movie right now. I'm gonna swing by tomorrow, and it's just like I don't even know when I would have time to talk. I might just have to write something about the Acolyte because like it's that got a really bad rap. I feel it's like.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen what people fucking applauded for. People cried when Luke Skywalker showed up in The Mandalorian. You fucking, now you got me going because I saw
No,
people being like,
go, do
people were
it.
like, you know, the Acolyte, it was just a badly written show. It didn't do good. And I'm like, you fucking cheered for that dog shit. You fucking losers. You fucking wastes of life. You embarrass me. You embarrass your families. You should be ashamed of yourselves.
And
Whatever.
since he's tangentially related, Star Wars theory, because I'm going to get on this.
Fuck Star. Yes, fuck
He's
him.
popping up. He's popping up because he's harassing this writer, which the writer here nor there. Like the dude, I think the guy is mostly harmless, but whatever. But the writer's being harassed by Star Wars theory's fan base because, and I'm going to condense as best I can. Essentially, the writer wrote something about how he wanted Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor, and what's her name, who played young Ahsoka in live action, to basically do a live action version of the Clone Wars. In itself, it's stupid. We don't need it. It's bad. But like, fine, I get the sentiment. Like, sure, whatever. And then Star Wars Theory is reading the article on his stream, whatever, and he's basically agreeing with it, but then he's like, "Oh, this guy stole my whole flow," so some weird dumb crap like that, and then he's like, I don't know you. Like, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, you're harassing me." It's like, you make millions of dollars off of your views. Like, he is a journalist. He's not making half of what you make. Like, what is this? And essentially the writer's like, he's getting death threats now through his phone, like all this BS. And I'm just like, this is so dumb. Like how do you not realize like the power that you hold and like what you're doing? He's a terrible, terrible person. I remember him way back when Last Jedi was coming out, and he was just slamming out theory videos about, oh, Snoke's ring, it must mean this, and therefore this. And then Last Jedi comes out, and he's like all pissed. And I'm like, maybe that's what happens when you fucking make your ply and trade off of just theorizing something, and then when it doesn't turn out to be that, maybe you should like think about that, self-reflect and whatever. Sorry, I just terrible person, terrible fan. Just oh my god.
Yeah, those kind of creators are kind of a blight on fandom. It kind of makes me has made me not want to, get as involved with some things. It makes me like discover less video essayists because I'm, a bit skeptical of a lot of things I see. I used to really enjoy watching YouTube videos about fairies and stuff like that. A lot of like early cracked stuff. After hours, I've been rewatching some of their videos lately. It was a lot of good, but then there was some of this stuff now, it's just so it's just like, isn't this meant to be a joyous thing that we enjoy the same thing and we want to share it with each other? And even when apparently they're agreeing with people, they're still angry about some element of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on a whole thing and then we can get started. But let me open the door for my cat really quick. Hang on.
No, I agree with you. I just it's also like it's been past that point for a while, but as soon as I usually try to feel somebody out a bit, because there was I was playing Helldivers 2. There was this guy I was going to, I'm like, oh, he's got pretty decent guys, I was just sure. And then he starts to say he didn't say the exact words, and I'm like, oh, he's saying stuff that's making me like pause a bit. And then he went out, he was like, oh, the woke, and I'm like, oh God, no. And the very next day, like I was like, you know what? He's already using the word woke and stupid. I'm like, I can't do this. The very next day he published like a 30-minute video essay about how the woke mind virus has like infected all of like, and I'm just like, God. And then I think I tuned in for like all of 30 seconds, and you could tell his channel's on the rise because he's put out these Helldiver videos, and then you could just see it just plateau, just like because he started doing that. I'm like, dog, maybe think about like this is not going to go the way you think. But anyways, Diego, rant, go.
Yeah, just fuck Star Wars Theory, who has gone after friend of the show and friend in real life before for saying like they were very short-sighted in their understanding of Star Wars, and which is correct, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're like attacking like Star Wars Explained now, who by all accounts are very kind people. They're the one Star Wars channel I still follow because they just talk about like stuff level-headedly. Like if they don't like it, they just bring out like, you know, they're not saying it's bad and attacking fans that do like it, you know,
Yeah.
or like they'll you know, for access reasons, I'm sure they're never too critical, but like they're the one space that has like open-minded discussions at least, you know. Um, and they're getting like horrible threats put towards them, and yeah, it's the same playbook I saw Star Wars Theory do to a friend of the show. I won't even name because I don't want them to like get wrapped up in anything anymore. But
Yeah.
he's
I
like,
remember
oh,
that.
those aren't my fans. You know, my fans are level-headed, they're open-minded. I'm not responsible for them if they are my fans. And it's like,
Mm.
yeah, he's just a conservative grifting asshole. The sooner he's deplatformed, the better. Fuck him. And I think to segue to do the fucking like just a 90-degree segue right now.
Is Tim Burton
I think
racist?
it's I was gonna not talk about that off the bat, but you know what? That might be a better one. Tim Burton is a strange fellow. That's what I think. Uh, he has said stupid comments in the past that he should have apologized for. If he has, let me know. I'm unfamiliar with them. I'm not saying he hasn't. I'm saying straight up, I did not look to see if he has apologized for them. Um, and to say the least, he's been acting a fool sometimes. He's also very obviously an important filmmaker for a lot of people. Uh, Partly myself included, partly not. Um, what I love from him, I really love. What I dislike from him, I really dislike. And to his credit, as a filmmaker, anyways, in the lead up to Beetlejuice, he was saying like, you know, he like kind of rediscovered his joy of filmmaking with this. I'm like, there's a very handcrafted nature to it, handmade nature to this one that he not so subtly expressed. Maybe he lost that little spark over the last decade of productions, if not more. I would argue he has not made a truly great film in literally 21 years. Um, and
Okay.
just
Yeah.
two
That's oddly
decades.
specific.
I just did the maths and I'm like, okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, you do like that one.
I know what you're stopping at.
Yeah, it's big. I mean, I talk about it all the time. Big Fish. I think that's his last great movie, and I still think it's his last great movie. But we'll talk about that. Max, let's just dive into the criticism of Tim Burton. Or if you wanted to talk about like your history with Tim Burton first, just like as a filmmaker, and then please by all means fucking hammer away because he again, if he's apologized for saying he's not interested in putting black people in his films, I have not heard the apology. I've not found or seen the apology. So that is something worth noting here, especially with Beetlejuice, which we will talk about, I'm sure.
I don't know if he's apologized either. You know what, that's one of those things that even as a black man, I didn't even recognize until within like maybe like the last 5 6 years where it was being pointed out, and I'm like, oh, I guess that's true. And I don't necessarily know, I suppose, what's the when it when that criticism can be levied and when it can't be, because I know Wes Anderson similarly gets the same critiques as well. Um, and but yeah, I don't know, but I also feel like maybe Wes Anderson's maybe a bit better at it than Tim Burton is. But that's hard to parse. I don't know if he's racist, but I mean maybe racist is a strong word. I don't know if he's ignorant. Um, no, yeah, no, I assume he's ignorant, but like not in the like bigoted sense, but just like sort of a general ignorance, or maybe he doesn't think about it. I don't know. That's not for me to say. Um, I'm very familiar with him. I think as a lot of people are. The big one I think obviously is Batman. Batman I grew up with religiously. There's an old tale that goes around in my house when I was a kid that my dad, he would just put me in the little high top chair and put food on the little table, and I would just sit there and eat that, and I would just watch Batman, Batman the animated series, whatever that, and I would just do that for hours and hours. So Batman is like, it is my favorite superhero. It's in my DNA. Like that is the thing. As I've gotten older, I've seen most of his films, especially his latter day stuff, for bad, for mostly bad. Um, but he he's very influential for many reasons, and I don't know if he still has it because I haven't seen Beetlejuice, but like I don't know. I like to think that maybe he's still got some juice in the tank, and from the sound of things, maybe he does. So I'll let Jack go off because I feel like I'm a bit rambling here.
Yeah. Also, I just want to say also I hope I didn't just put that on you like as the sole black person on this
No,
podcast to all the
no,
talk
no.
about the reason stuff. I just meant I was gonna segue with the history with Tim Burton stuff, and so I apologize if I didn't put that on you too.
No, no, no. It was fine. I thought
Okay.
I mean I brought it on myself because I'm the one who brought up the stupid segue. Is he racist?
No, you know what? Maybe it's a little harsh, but that was a better segue than mine. I was just gonna say like, the digital space has been evolving, like productions have been evolving, filmmaking's been evolving. That Tim Burton had to evolve when making $200 million movies, and maybe we discovered, oh, not everyone's built for that.
Yeah.
That's yeah. But Jack, what's your history with Tim Burton?
Yeah, well, you just had by talking about evolution there, you just made me think about comparing his career to like some later biological evolutions of the xenomorph. Uh, in terms of like new conditions, stripping Burton of a lot of what made his early stuff work. But to be honest, if you'd asked me a few days ago, do I like Tim Burton? I probably would have like gone, I like the Batman movies, but I don't know, it's not really my thing. But before we did this podcast, I just used it as an excuse to rewatch a couple ones that I remember liking, and it was interesting coming back and realizing, oh, and no, I do like this guy. And actually, a lot of these were quite formative cinematic experiences for me. A lot of like early forays into sort of dark subject matter, and just like heavy themes about like loneliness and things like that, and just seeing how much like imagination can kind of unfold in a film. Um, and so it's really interesting to me how much just a couple of decades of things which are just I have just a allergic reaction to even seeing. um, just the style just like does not work for me in this sort of green screen space. And it kind of like almost made me forget all the really tangible things that made his stuff work earlier in his career in the 90s really. um and so yeah, I think it's a really interesting career. And I mean, maybe Beetlejuice is a return of the spark, but I I don't know. Like, it's also a sequel to uh to like something which is the first film that comes up when you look at Tim Burton on Letterboxd. It does kind of almost feel like it shouldn't count for a return of any sorts. Is maybe too much of a return.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up that like sometimes when you spend so much time away from an artist and their work, and maybe they're like not on a hot streak anymore, maybe they've arguably lost it a little bit, you can kind of, it's going to shade your perception of stuff you even did like before, you know. This is not to the same degree, but I think another like more whimsical type filmmaker, like Tim Burton, I would describe as semi-whimsical, at least in his nature as an artist. I think people kind of lobbied similar criticisms at my boy Jean-Pierre Jeunet, um, who like after I would argue like a very long engagement hasn't really had monumental critical or financial success as a filmmaker. Um, there's only one movie of his I don't like, and it is the most recent one he did for Netflix because they're the only one who would fund it. Um, but it's it's like if he had made as many movies as Tim Burton that were maybe underdeveloped and undercooked like his more recent work, and I would probably have a similar feeling about Genet that I do Burton. And watching Beetlejuice, and literally right before this podcast, watching for the first time his short film Vincent, kind of like reinvigorated my appreciation of Tim Burton, even having been kind of like a very harsh critic of his recently, to the point where I kind of feel bad almost.
No, you shouldn't. His Alice in Wonderland deserves all of the criticism that Avatar gets about no cultural impact. That movie made $1 billion, and I don't even know people in real life, regardless of whether or not where I currently live, but even back when I was in the States, I didn't even know people in real life then who talked about that film. Made $1 billion, and nobody.
Wow. I completely forgot it made that much money.
Yeah.
Exactly. That was one of the biggest. I was like, that made $1 billion?
Wow.
Like, oh, okay, sure.
No, I mean 3D back then. Like now people don't
Oh
like
yeah.
if a movie's in 3D now people like avoid it. Back then it was like, well, if you're gonna watch a movie, like you have to watch it in 3D. Which is weird how hard they pushed that. I mean, obviously that's because of Avatar, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's a year after, if even that.
Yeah.
It's
There you go.
2010, so
I like that's where it would make the money.
no, it's not even a year. It's like 3 months.
What the fuck?
February.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I remember
Wow.
that being a December movie too for some reason. What the fuck?
Yeah, no, that
Um,
I know February sounds right, and it was just like they made $1 billion. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like yeah, that movie's awful. I think people kind of softballed out. I think that's a terrible fucking movie. That was the first moment where I was like, oh, he's going away for a little bit, I think. Maybe he's been away. Because I remember liking Sweeney Todd. I saw Sweeney Todd in high school and I was like, oh yeah, that was good. That was really great. That's when I was like, oh, I like musicals now, you know? So like even that, a very flawed film that I don't like hate, but I'm like, I'm looking back on it now. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't really work. But I was like, oh, the music's great. And I'm like, oh, well, Stephen Sondheim music. So there you go. But yeah, and then after that, it's just I know some people really like Big Eyes. I appreciate him trying to make something a little more grounded. Well, it's a biopic, but so
I
I
like
don't.
Frank and Weenie.
As a pet owner, I do have a soft spot for Frankenweenie. Like I don't think it comes together, but fucking if you love your little furry friends, like that's gonna do a number on you. And then
Well,
after that, it's just darkness. It's just a
what are the
void.
feelings on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory though? That's
Oh no.
I look, Jack, you're British. How about you lead us in with that one? What is the vibe
it's
there?
representative of my culture, of course.
I don't want to offend the poor British Empire.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is hard because it's hard to think of that movie without thinking of the Gene Wilder Willy Wonka movie and thinking of it in comparison of that, which is a very special movie to me. And I think there are elements of that Charlie and the Chocolate Factory that work. Some of the casting is pretty good, especially with the kids. It's just an overload of like I like kitsch things, but there's like it goes past like garish into we need another word for the style, and I just found it like just a kind of a hard movie to watch, really. That was actually, I think that was enough for me at that point. A combination of that and also around the same time discovering the Planet of the Apes remake.
Fuck.
And
And
I think watching those in close proximity probably undid all the work he had done to make me love him beforehand. And I think from that I was like, okay, I need to be convinced to get back on board. And then he gave me, a dozen reasons not to.
yeah, And it's so strange because you ask like fucking film Twitter types like us, and it's like God, like Burton, like ugh, like new Tim Burton movie. I remember seeing the Dumbo trailer, and even thinking that trailer looked pretty good, but just knowing like where he was at, and like swearing off the Disney remakes after Beauty and the Beast, which I also think is one of the worst movies ever released by a major motion picture studio. Which is even more damn because that original one's such a beautiful film. Um, and just thinking like I can't do it. I can't watch his Dumbo. Like there's just no way. And then everyone's like, it's actually okay, so that makes it one of the better remakes. I'm like, yeah,
Oh,
but
you heard it
like
was okay?
I heard it was okay. Yeah, I heard
Okay.
it was fine. But just knowing that it was like, no, there's no fucking way. But in the real world, people still like Tim Burton. Like it's like his fall off hasn't impacted his reception as one of America's great artists, which
The
is
thing
neither a
is,
good
his
or bad
movies, they
thing.
still make money.
The name Tim Burton still has recognition. Like some relatives of mine, I was talking to them like a couple months ago when the first Beetlejuice trailer came out, and they were like, "Oh, I'm really excited to see it." And just my visceral reaction, was like, "Really? Like you're gonna watch a new Tim Burton movie in theaters?"
I suppose
And they were excited.
he's kept bringing in like these big names that have lasted as well. Like the actors that return to work with him are also actors which have maintained like a being sort of well liked by audiences since then, and he can still bring those people in. And so I don't know if that's part of it.
And again, I don't think he's had like an outright disastrous flop. Like his movies, I think at the very least they might just break even, and I think that's still just enough. That's good enough. Critical reception, be damned. Um,
Yeah,
at least just browsing really quick, that seems to be the case. So
I think it's like Miss Peregrine's maybe bombed, but even that one, I
Mm.
let me see. Let me check that one.
it had a 110 budget, made 296.
Okay, it's not great, but that's not a bomb.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Or that maybe that's kind of a bomb because it didn't. You got to double up to make money back, which is Hollywood financing makes no fucking sense. It's good that it hasn't gotten worse and the industry is so good and so afloat right now. But anyways, yeah, it's like okay, that's like the one, right, that hasn't really done that well. I'm willing to bet even Dark Shadows did well because that was like Johnny Depp at the height of his power, unfortunately. Um,
2012.
and like, but the point is like people still like him, and I don't know. It's just so strange. Like, where do you guys think the fall off happens? I've definitely talked about this before, but I'm curious about you guys. Um, is it Planet of the Apes? Is it after? I mean, Planet of the Apes is like like just a fucking nexus point of the dog shit that's about to come in the post 2000s blockbuster space.
I think there's
But
a point like in the maybe it's Planet of the Apes where visually things become like a, a fair amount more muted uh and less stylized for a short while, and then it kind of like it's almost like he reacts to that and comes back harder, and then it transfers into like this digital CGI mess. And so I think I think I think wait, because I think is it Planet of the Apes before Big Fish? Or was
yeah,
there something in between? Yeah, okay. Because I think Big Fish, uh, I will defend Big Fish, but it's not as strong as earlier films in his career. But it is also a little bit of an outlier in terms of that. Because if you take that out for me, then it's like very clear that Planet of the Apes, everything goes downhill.
I feel like because I haven't seen Big Fish, but I feel like he does bad movie, Planet of the Apes, solid movie, Big Fish, bad movie, Charlie Chocolate Factory. He co-directs Corpse Bride, which sure, and I remember seeing that. I remember thinking I liked Corpse Bride. Sweeney Todd, kind of like Sweeney Todd, and then afterwards it's like bad, bad. Oh, okay, then Frankenweenie obviously, but then basically from Alice in Wonderland, Dark Shadows, Big Eyes, Peregrine, Dumbo. Excuse me. It's rough. It's rough waters out there. So it does feel like for a bit he does a really bad movie, and he does something, hey, you've still got something in there. And then he's like, oh, okay, then you're back to really bad again. And I'd argue maybe it's mostly I'm hesitant to say IP, but like they are not his original films. They are not original films. They are something with a name brand stuck to it, and that's sort of the thing. That's like those are the ones that stand out as like, oh, that's not good. um, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think you've got a point there. And I mean, speaking of the IP stuff, like that's all Hollywood's like producing primarily right now, right? And the way we know very well that the way these movies are produced now on these like assembly line productions, there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen at all time. Whatever writer you see like credited as like, oh, Michael Waldron wrote Doctor Strange too. It's like, yes, as well as like 50 other people, including producers who had notes at every second of the day. It's a miracle that movie's like good. But, like, um, I think part of that like problem is that Burton's such a specific voice, like whatever his own individual hangups you have about him as an artist, like he's his own guy. And I think the way Hollywood has pivoted, it stops that voice from being able to say anything, and that's how you get like the aggressive kitschiness of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That's how you get Alice in Wonderland, where you're like, I don't even know what the fuck I'm looking at. There's like everything's looks like ass water, and it's just vile on your eyes. And so it's like he can't. How are you supposed to navigate those waters? And I'll just segue into this for a little bit because I do want to talk about Beetlejuice, and I know Max hasn't seen it. But Max, have you seen the
Go
original
ahead.
one?
I don't mind. Spoil it. Go nuts.
Have you seen the original?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Multiple
Okay.
times.
Okay, yeah. Jack, Beetlejuice. What do we think?
Um, oh, uh, I liked it more than I thought I would. But I realized that I think what I liked more than I expected was that, for one thing, there was a lot more, there were actual sets and practical effects and costuming and uh, a lot of details to latch onto. And also, it kind of like was like less of a, like doing less of the tropes that you expect from a legacy sequel and doing more like like a traditional comedy sequel. Like he kind of reminded me of Ghostbusters 2,
Oh my God.
but in a weird way, right? I thought that, and it felt strange because I thought, why it's refreshing to see something that's more like Ghostbusters 2, but let's not get carried away and think that Ghostbusters 2 is the end result that we're looking for. So I think it's almost like in comparison to a lot of other legacy sequels, it's a lot less exhausting. And it moves pretty well. It's very like it's a short, like it's like I think like 100 minutes.
Yeah, I think
Something
it's
like
about
that.
100 minutes.
Yeah,
Which
it
is the
just
right move for
yeah,
Beetlejuice.
and it kind of and I do think that Jenny Ortega is really good in it. But there's a couple of jokes that are good, but I just like there was just this kind of emptiness watching it that even when things were kind of working for me, I just felt very much like I could just watch Beetlejuice, you know,
Is there
instead
a
of
feeling
just
of maybe too little, too late to it? Like
yeah.
it's too like they came far too late for it.
It does feel like he is like I'm sure there were conversations about doing this sequel like a long time ago and either didn't come together or Burton didn't want to do it. I don't know what the history of it is, but
That's something
Can
I'll
I
bring
actually
up
say
later
that?
about its development. Go ahead,
Yeah.
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 So the original idea after Beetlejuice was a hit, which is, a very offbeat movie to be a hit, very specific newcomer
Mhm.
voice who had only done Pee-wee's Big Adventure, right? And like, what the fuck is Beetlejuice? What is this movie? And like even look at that original movie structurally, it's like I don't know if that movie on the page reads very well, but
Mhm.
a lot of people love it for very good reason, right? And so they were like, okay, well, obviously this is a hit. Let's do a sequel. And the original idea was like Beetlejuice goes Hawaii. And that sounds like absurd, but I also kind of see why that would be the idea Burton thought of. Like the Germanist expressionist painting vibes of his like gothic fascination, contrasting with stuff like a luau or Hawaiian culture. Like that's very exciting. Now they know more about Tim Burton, be it just his ignorance or hopefully not worse as a human being, right? Um, I don't know if I trust him with that premise anymore. Specifically because of a joke in Beetlejuice, but I could see why that idea like caught hold for a bit, and then that idea never takes off. They work on development for on and off for like every 5-10 years probably. There's a conversation he has with Michael Keaton and Winona Ryder, and Winona Ryder's character in this, Lydia, she is Tim Burton. That is who he is. That's his surrogate. That's like what that character feels and believes and goes through is what he feels and believes and goes through, like kind of as an artist. And I think that's why some of the stuff in Beetlejuice, some people were like, this doesn't make sense. And I'm like, I kind of think it does. But we'll get to that. And then
I'm kind of curious, how much do you think the budget is just allocated to the decades of it sitting in development hell?
not a lot, because they didn't even like get a green light. Like this wasn't like an official Hollywood production like development hell thing. It was literally just like, well, we haven't really done anything. Like they're not getting paid to come up with the idea and work on it. They were like, we don't have a working concept yet. Like maybe
Okay.
there was some of that back then, but that must have been so long ago. I don't even think those people work at Warner Brothers anymore.
Mm.
Like officially. And I only know this because I started getting kind of excited about Beetlejuice.
It was a good trailer, I think. I was
Yeah.
surprised that I got excited for it.
Yeah, there's the Mario Bava scene clip where the homage to Black Sunday, where I'm like, holy shit, is he like maybe having fun again? Is that gonna go enough? Is that gonna be enough for me? Is that gonna go a long way? But once I saw that, I was like, let me see what like I love director interviews and like hearing the cast talk about like an invested cast talk about their project, right? You can always tell when it's like, oh, they're here for the cute interviews, or if they're like, no, well, here's the process of making a movie. The cute interviews are fine too. I'm not shitting on anyone. I'm just saying, like, you can tell like Winona Ryder and Jenna Ortega like genuinely like each other. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And Catherine O'Hara, like they genuinely are movie lovers who like, I believe them when they say they talked about movies like hours on end with this shit, right? And so I was like, okay. And listening to those conversations, I guess Tim Burton on the Wednesday shoot, that's when they started getting approached for like the idea from the Wednesday writers. Um, Alfred and someone. Let me look up their names. I don't want to fuck it up. Miles
Uh,
Miller and Alfred
yeah,
Go.
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that because I saw Alfred go, and my brain sort of short circuited because I was thinking of Michael Go playing
Yeah.
playing Alfred in the
You-
Batman movies, and I was like, wait, why isn't he dead?
Maybe
And
that's why
then
Tim Burton works with them. Um,
yeah.
and obviously that's why he works with Jenna Ortega, because they all got along very well in the show. Even though screenwriting Twitter hates Jenna Ortega because she was like rightfully called out that scripts weren't working, and then they made them better. And it's like, hey, that's how all these things work. I don't know why you're picking on the short Latina lady, but whatever. It tends to be white writers too. I'm not saying anything. I'm just suggesting. Um, but clearly they all like working together, and then that's when things got rolling. So I'm willing to bet Tim Burton just had a fucking blast on the Wednesday show, and then now he's just gonna work with his buddies again, which is, I mean, that's not bad. That's good. Um, sorry, we like segued into the whole thing, but do you have anything else to say about Beetlejuice really quickly?
I wish I had more to say about it. I think I wish it had expanded things, because like in the afterlife, what if there was new concepts, new ideas in there? And the most I can think of, uh, like creatively new, is that they were like, what about a Soul Train? But we played Soul Train when the Soul Train comes, and I'm like, is that the best you got?
Wait,
But so yeah,
what?
no, yeah, that's
Oh,
literal. I'm not just spitballing.
wait, do you not know?
No. Explain
Oh,
what
so there's a part where a Soul Train shows up, and they're playing the Soul Train sounds, and I guess Tim Burton heard the criticisms that he doesn't cast black actors in his movie, so he put them in that scene. Um, So now it's gonna get weird because this is the part where I say I actually like the movie for the most part. It's not the best part for me to jump on and say that. Um, and if that like turns you off the movie entirely, obviously I get it.
No,
To
it's fine.
everyone,
It's just
this,
that is such a
that is,
white guy thing. Like
mhm,
Jesus Christ. Oh,
yeah,
The visual that you're imagining is also what is in the movie.
yeah.
no, okay, no. What am I imagining? It's a green train, and then the black guys on board, they have like pinstripe clothes on. That's not it. Is it?
No,
Okay,
not
okay,
It's
okay,
like it's not exactly. No, so I think the movie is actually very entertaining, and that's like it's kind of it. I agree with Jack. It's like, yeah, I don't have that much to say about it, but like I did have a good time, and it is nice to see everyone like really committed to just making a great piece of entertainment. And sometimes that like infectious joy you feel from like a cast and crew on a film or production, like that can like translate to the audience, you know. Sometimes you could tell they're having more fun than you are, and sometimes that's true of this movie as well. And that I think sometimes that's okay. Like rooting for Tim Burton to come back these last couple weeks instead of like being like dreading this and trying to avoid it. Um, I was content. I want him to continue to do better. And look, man, if you just do not have the faculties in your brain to figure out how to put people of color in your movie and black people specifically, maybe just don't try it. Okay, like I think Sofia Coppola has received criticism for not casting black actresses. I'm like, hey, that's not an invalid criticism. I'm also maybe okay with it sometimes because if she doesn't have like the faculties to address a black woman's perspective, I definitely don't want to hear privileged Sofia Coppola mismanage a narrative like that.
She's definitely not the first person you would go to
Yeah,
to show that.
in that same breath, I think Nolan rightfully got criticism for years about his treatment of women. And I think he
Mhm,
slowly started to get better at it. It's not doesn't
mhm,
always work, but like I think Emily Blunt in Oppenheimer, I think she's very good.
mhm.
And Hathaway is very good in Interstellar and Dark Knight Rises. So I think there's definitely stuff that I think there's room to grow, and at minimum he is trying. And I'm saying that like we're basically as a rebuttal is in the sense that if if Tim Burton wants to try and maybe he upgrades from a Soul Train depiction to I don't even want to know. But like if he gets better, then I mean that's something. But
It
I,
wouldn't
I
be
understand what you're saying. But
it
there's
wouldn't
I
be
think there's
hard to be better than
Yeah,
than that at least.
no, absolutely. You're totally correct, and we should demand better. I think you're absolutely right. I'm just I'm just being wary is all. But your
yeah,
point
yeah.
ultimately completely stands. Um, and Jenna Ortega's
He's a woman of color.
she's a woman of color. She's lighter skinned, but still a woman of color. Um, and so like the fact that they've apparently teamed up and like they're already shooting Wednesday season 2. They're like halfway through that, I guess. So it's like, okay, well, there you go. There's something. There's something.
I haven't
I meant
seen
to tell you,
any
I
of
drove
Wednesday.
past the place where they filmed that at.
Oh wait, sorry. Was it say that again, Max?
I didn't when we were in Transylvania, we drove past the place where they filmed I think the exterior of the school.
Oh, really?
Mm.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
in a
okay.
small like hillside town. They have signs pointing to it and everything. I don't know if they're going back there for season two. I mean,
Okay.
I didn't really finish season one, but
I know
um
they moved eventually to England to where Tim Burton lives because I don't think he was actually on the show at the start of it, and then they kind of bring him on, and that's when him and Jenna Ortega kind of collaborate to strengthen the show, we'll say.
yeah.
Um, I don't we're not touching that. But and then Jack, you didn't see any of Wednesday, right?
No,
Yeah,
no,
me
nothing.
neither. Apparently every fucking writer I've gotten to meet in Hollywood and such like that, they're always like if I could toot my own horn for a second, I got to meet John Turnman, the writer of Hulk last year, right? And we hit it off. We were geeking out and stuff like that. And I kind of softball pitched him this premise I had for something that I'm working on. And he was like, "That's great," which felt very good to hear. He's like, "That's a great premise. I think if you're looking for how to write teens in that genre space, you should really watch Wednesday if you haven't." And
Oh,
like, I
okay.
swear to God, every fucking writer is like sucking Wednesday's dick, which is fine. Maybe the show is terrific. I haven't seen any of it because my
Mhm.
whole pretentious stance is like, if I want to watch the Addams Family, I want to watch the Addams Family. I
I
don't want to
tapped out
watch.
after 3 episodes. I
Okay,
couldn't.
yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard that response too. But a lot of writers apparently really like the show, and I just find that interesting because maybe they're script watching, or yeah, maybe they're script watching is the thing, which is fine, which is totally fine. Everyone just acknowledge and enjoy what they want to enjoy. I just the people that like it and the people that bounce off it.
Mhm.
There's a distinct line, and I haven't been fully able to draw it yet, but I think I'm starting to see it more. I haven't seen any of Wednesday. I will watch it because now that her and Tim Burton are in charge, I'm like, okay, I enjoyed Beetlejuice enough that I will actually
Mhm.
give his stuff another shot, and that honestly felt very good because his stuff is his better stuff is really important to me. I'm realizing.
Mhm.
And again, I do almost feel bad for being like such a critic of his lesser work, and I don't think it got any better after enjoying this movie. um, like I'll never watch Alice in Wonderland again if as God is my witness, if I can help it.
Unless
Um,
somebody drives a dump truck full of money up to you.
oh, okay, so you give me $1 million, I'm gonna watch anything. You know what I mean? Like, I'll watch the Zapruder film on loop for 24 hours if I have to for $1 million. Um, but yeah, it's like there's also just not a lot to say. It is better than I initially anticipated, and it is not as good as I had hoped, which is okay. There's definitely a lot of charm. I really love the sets. I love all
Mhm.
the weird like stop motion animation, like with the sandworms and stuff. The little shrunken head guys, I love them. I love them. Um,
Yeah.
I think this film was shot by Harris Zambarlokus, who also shot my beloved Kenneth Branagh Thor, as well as he's a
Oh,
regular Branagh collaborator.
okay.
So I think the movie actually looks pretty good. I would say there's definitely been, like, to talk about evolution again, like between Burton's film and digital work. I think not that it's a drop off, but it's very different. And especially look at the original Beetlejuice, which I think is like a terrific looking movie. It looks pretty good. Um, Lots of like bold, even like garish color sometimes. Like Beetlejuice looks like nastier
Yeah.
in digital. And
Yeah,
like
like slightly moldy.
yeah, which is like the intended effect, but also I'm like, this is a little less fun because of that. Like you gotta murky up the lens a little bit, guys. Like, I don't need to see every pore on him. Maybe don't get the sharpest lens, maybe get some of those Batman lenses that Greg Fraser used, then you know, I feel less repulsed looking at Michael Keaton, which is a feeling I don't often get. I love Michael Keaton. Who doesn't love Michael Keaton? The third best Batman. But no, I'm
Who's the
just always
first?
nah. I don't want to say people are gonna get
Ben
mad.
Affleck.
He's really fucking good as Batman. His movies are not that good, except for BVS, but he is fucking terrific as Batman. That's my
So it's
stance.
Robert Patterson.
It might. No, I think Bale's just my guy. Just I think because
Yeah.
those are always gonna be my Batman from my generation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if someone says there's a better one, it's like I'm not gonna argue. It's just I think he's mine. Just like Keaton's a lot of people's Batman. You know what I mean? Um, So I mean, yeah, Beetlejuice. If you're curious, go check it out. Honestly, I would
Yeah.
see Beetlejuice. I would see the third
Mhm.
one. Maybe now they go to
Yeah.
Hawaii and he hires like a cultural coordinator. Be like, no, not Tim, no, not that one.
Maybe a team of 10 of them.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's good, Tim. That's a funny idea. Not that one though. Don't do that one. You have a spray bottle for him. No, no, Tim. It's not racist, but it doesn't look good. Uh, so yeah, that you can do that. I'll be there for that.
Yeah.
Um,
It
also,
is it is good that he seems like he's having fun again. He's like a bit more in this element. I think he works well with this cast. I would like them all to work on ideally like a new project together that also, you know, made use of like a proper like production design and everything again. So I feel good about it. I just like it's more it's more like yeah, I wish there was more.
Yeah. Last things, and then we'll start doing our top five so we can get out of here. And then a
Sure.
lot of people responded to my last minute crowdsourcing, so I'm not gonna be able to read everyone's like suggested top five. I will share them on the YouTube version of this. I'll take screenshots and I'll share them as we're going through it because, again, people still really like Tim Burton, so that's very cool. Last couple things. Very funny that the one character who couldn't be in this movie because they are weird, we'll say, Jeffrey Jones. His character's cameo did make me laugh. Some people thought it was too mean. I think that is the nicest way they could have had that character cameo.
I think it was exactly mean enough.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm not going to forget it anytime soon.
No, I will not. Like, I genuinely don't even want to spoil that one because it's very funny if you haven't seen it. No, Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis is genuinely kind of a bummer. I totally get it. We were hyping up Alec Baldwin earlier with 30 Rock stuff. It's very unfortunate that he seems to be kind of a dick because he's great in the first Beetlejuice, and he is genuinely giving maybe one of my favorite comedy performances ever in 30 Rock for like 7 seasons straight. There's never a fucking step miss with him. He's just killer after killer line. And then Gina Davis is just fantastic. I kind of wish they were in it, but whatever. I get it. It's not their story. The most interesting part of the story for me is Winona Ryder's character, like clearly being the Tim Burton surrogate of like kind of having lost her way, maybe settling in a bad space of bad decisions with a bad person. Not that Tim Burton was necessarily doing that, just like I think that's how he feels. He was in a bad space, and this movie's about her kind of like, breaking out of that funk and connecting with her daughter. Well, it's kind of about connecting with her daughter. There's kind of a beginning and an end to that plot. And then it's like, it's not really a middle, but whatever. I'll take it at this point.
Does Winona Ryder end up with a smoking hot guy to underline that connection?
So you're talking about Monica Bellucci, right? Like,
Jesus Christ. He has a game.
Whatever
I can't be mad at him for his movies because his game is so like it's on point. Like bad bitches after bad. I don't get it. Like I no, that's not true. I get it. He probably a little freak, and that's cool. But like Monica Bellucci, oh my god. I'm sorry.
No.
I wish I could be.
We all get it. Trust me, we all get it. Everyone gets it. But I will say about that element of the film with her character, it's very funny that it's like there was criticism like, why is she in the movie? Because genuinely, it's like I don't know what the fuck that plot is about. It's like she shows up and then it gets resolved at the end, and it's like it's so disconnected.
You know what?
People were exaggerating it.
This is a reference for like very few people, but I know it worked for you, Diego. Kind of reminded me of Krista Bell in Twin Peaks: The Return.
Oh, yep.
Where you're kind of like, I don't really know why, but I know why.
Yeah.
We'll find out soon.
Max is making his way through Twin Peaks right now.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
It's a very emotional ride. I was not prepared.
Oh yeah. No, I had another relative like tell me they started watching it and they're like, I can't do this. I'm not in the headspace for this. Like it's too heavy. Which is like funny to think about Twin Peaks. Like Twin Peaks: The Return, I get. The original Twin Peaks, I think, has a charming nature to it that a lot of people refer to, but it's like that's a pretty heavy show as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. The Monica Bellucci stuff is like, yeah, she's just there because she's like hot, and it's like to the point where I'm like, look, Tim Burton's having so much fun with these people that I am just kind of like fine with that. I don't need everything to click right away. It's like, okay, he's kind of dusting off the cobwebs with this movie, I feel like. And I hope that's true. I hope he's just dusting off the cobwebs and the next one's even better. Which is not what I expected to say like a year ago. So more power to him. Jack, as the official guest of this episode, do you want to start your top five Tim Burton? So how it's going to work is we're going to go with our number five. We'll go in a circle from Jack to Max to me, and then number four. Actually, before we get to four, I'll read out some responses. So I get to some people's, and then we can do that. Yeah, we all ready?
Yep.
All right, let's do it. Jack, number five.
Okay. Well, we spoke about it a little bit earlier, but Big Fish. It almost didn't make it in. Because I do think it has a lot of flaws. I don't think it all holds together super well. But it's just the central relationship, the father-son dynamic is just beautiful, and just the emotions work so well. And it's like very fun, easy going movie. It was very important to me growing up. Like the idea of seeing imagination on film. And coming back to it, I was a little bit worried that it wouldn't hold up to it, but I think it's still really good and worth a watch. It's just it's a little shaky at times, but yeah, it just really hits hard, and especially how it comes together in the last like 20 minutes. I will say that much.
Yeah, that ending is really terrific. Max, I think you'll really get a kick out of that one, frankly. But Max, your number five.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't actually. I have a list, but I can't really order them in any sense because I think I like them all equally. But I'll start with one I actually watched today, like within 30 minutes of us recording. Mars Attacks.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I had a blast with that. That was a lot of fun. It's his little throwback to like 50s, 60s sci-fi films. It's very cheesy. It's very campy. It has an ridiculous stacked cast. Like, good God, it's bursting at the seams with talent, and he kills most of them like throughout the film, which is very funny. But it's very charming. It's very cute. I love the chitsiness of it. Yeah, no, I had fun with it. It's not the greatest thing ever, but like that's like a good 3.5 star picture. Just fun. Someone who clearly has love for a very specific type of film that frankly can't really be made today or even in the 90s really. And he gets to just go all out with it. And he's got some of the biggest stars in the world like Jack Nicholson, Glenn Close, Natalie Portman, Jim Brown. Jim Brown. Pamela Greer. My God, I feel so terrible. It's not Pamela Greer, right? It's
Pam Grier.
Pam Grier. Jesus, please don't kill me. Pam Grier and just so many other people, and it was just a delight to watch from beginning to end. I was having a great time with it.
This is fitting. I don't know if you guys can hear the crow outside my window, but it's going crazy right now. So this is genuinely fitting for Tim Burton.
Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah. My number five is Beetlejuice, the original Beetlejuice. I think again, like I don't think it's like necessarily flawed. It's just like, it's a little wonky on a structural level. To the point where I could see why like maybe they felt Beetlejuice was ready to go when maybe another pass or two just to be safe. But it's so fun and creative, and it makes sense that this is still like a touchstone and very often people's favorite Tim Burton movie. I think this is like he did Pee-wee's beforehand, right? And I'll come back to that one. But this is really the one where he's like, this is who I am. It feels like this is his signifier, right? Not every director needs that or necessarily even wants that, but I think this is the one where it's like, this is me, this is who I am, this is what I can do, this is what I bring to the table. And it's like, I like what you bring to the table. Well, let's keep that going for a little bit. I'll read some responses now. I am still getting some, so thank you everyone for responding. So I'm not gonna. There's no fucking way I'm gonna say them all. But let me say, friend of the show, fellow podcaster at In Session Film, JD Duran at Real JD Duran, Ed Wood, Batman Returns, Big Fish, Edward Scissorhands, and Batman. A lot of people I noticed put both Batmans on there. I would perhaps not, but I that's a really great list in my opinion.
Yeah.
William Bibiani in alphabetical order said Batman Returns, Beetlejuice, Big Eyes, Sleepy Hollow, and Vincent, which I had not seen. That was like the one Tim Burton thing I hadn't seen, and he recommended it and shared a link. So I'll put a link down to that one below just because I don't think a lot of people have seen it too. It's a short film. It's literally 6 minutes. And I think it's really, really great.
Is that Vincent Price narrating?
Yeah,
Am I
that's
right?
that's that
Oh,
one.
you have to lead with that. Oh,
Yeah.
right. Yes,
Yeah.
my
Oh, dude. Oh,
boy.
yeah. You are gonna love it, Max.
Oh man, I watched Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein, and when I tell you I popped at the very end that he was playing the Invisible Man, right as it goes to credits. Oh, this is so much fun. He's
Is
such a
it
delight.
is it safe to say he's like a top 5 favorite actor for you,
Oh,
or at least up there?
yeah, no, I think top five. Yeah, he might. Yeah, no, top five. Yeah, he's got to be. But like that's a list I will never actually curate because I'm too afraid. But yeah, he is.
Yeah, yeah.
He's him and Peter Cushing. Those are my boys.
Nah. Also, you love Rogue One. Anyways, moving on.
No, yes, I
No.
actually do, but no.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I still like that movie too. It's just like, it's with
Yeah.
that specific thing. We're all like, fuck, we should have seen the writing on the wall. And a lot of people did. Eric Sipple at Salon said Ed Wood, Batman Returns, Edward Scissorhands, Mars Attacks, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Matt Brown at Call Me Matt 88, Sweeney Todd, Batman Returns, Edward Scissorhands, Sleepy Hollow, Mars Attacks. A lot of Mars Attacks love, which is much more than I expected. Um, it's
Not
not
a
on my top
fan.
five. It's not on my
Yeah,
top five, but I think I need to give that movie some more respect. Matt Ringo and I always talk about it because
there's a
he loves
failed
it much more.
blockbuster.
Failed blockbuster, yeah. All right, Jack, number 4.
My number 4 is Edward Scissorhands. I think it's kind of in a way like the Tim Burton film for me. Even though it's not like high up the list, it's just like you can see himself in it. Like he said about it being based on his own like loneliness and inability to communicate with people, and obviously there's kind of like a hedgehog's dilemma of someone who literally can't touch people without hurting them. I rewatched it this morning actually for the first time in a long time, and I was really hit by how much I did not remember it being such a tragedy. And it's really is it's just like it looks beautiful, and you can just see his creative spirit in it. I love the way it looks. The it's is it the Stefan Zapsky at the cinematographer on a few of his films, and just like is yeah, it looks beautiful. And it's just like there's a lot of like interesting things to relate to in that movie, and I just think it really holds up.
Yeah, since you mentioned him, Stefan Sapsky also shot Danny DeVito's Matilda, which it makes a lot of sense when you look at that, and Child's Play 2, which is a very underrated sequel, I think,
Yeah.
and looks terrific. There's some fun stuff if you guys haven't seen it yet. There's the very wide angle photography, often very low because you're like from the perspective of Andy, the kid, and it's just like little tricks like that where it's just like, oh, I never thought of that, and it makes it feel like you're right in that kid's shoes the whole time, and like you're always looking up at the adults and they're like not obviously not believing that a killer doll is after them. So yeah, really, really impressive cinematographer. I didn't even think to shout him out, so thanks for that. Max, number 4.
I actually haven't seen Edward Scissorhands. There's a couple of the good ones that I know I need to watch, and it's that one, Ed Wood, and Big Fish, and I guess also Pee Wee's Big Adventure. So those three won't be on my top five just because I haven't got to them. But for me, number 4 is Batman. I still really like it. Obviously, Michael Keaton is like, wow, he's Batman. I mean, he's not my number 1 Batman, but like that is Batman. Jack Nicholson as a Joker is fantastic, for all those reasons. My biggest criticism of the film, which I watched in the last few years, is it doesn't really have any narrative. It kind of just goes, and then it just ends up in a final act where, oh, this all happens. Sort of. That's not really giving justice to the criticism, but the film feels very shaggy, like it feels sort of plotless until it has to have a plot, like towards the middle end of the film. But man, does it look great. And the sequel to that, which is up higher on my list, looks even better. But yeah, no, fun, just fun film, incredible Prince soundtrack, and also just a lot of iconic just moments. No lords, I like this one. It's great. You want to get nuts, let's get nuts, like all of that. So yeah, that's my number four.
Yeah, I feel like maybe I hardball that one a little too much. Sometimes you softball stuff. I think I hardball that one maybe a bit much, but looks terrific. It's very fun. And yeah, Nicholson. I think Nicholson's my Vincent Price. Not that I don't like Vincent Price, obviously. Who doesn't like Vincent Price? But like that's one of those guys I don't get to talk about enough. And I'm like, fucking, he's just that was one of
Yeah.
our best guys. He's still alive right now, thankfully.
Yeah.
Watch him be dead by the time we're done recording. But like he's
God
still
damn it.
alive. And he just doesn't act anymore. But fucking goddamn, he's so good, Jack Nicholson. Um, yeah. So shout out to Jack Nicholson, I guess.
Yeah,
Um,
Batman didn't make it into my top five, and not because I don't love it, but it's just a great movie, and like all the cast are completely bringing it. So many memorable moments.
yeah, absolutely. My number four is Pee-wee's Big Adventure, which is probably a masterpiece. And I'm not even joking. Again, so much fun. Ridiculously inventive with not just like the set pieces, but like the weird characterizations. There's almost like this episodic nature to it, but it like builds in itself. Because I don't think Burton's a great director of like action and momentum, but this one it really comes together and it the way it builds on itself, I think is the best of any of his movies still. And that doesn't mean there's not more I like. Obviously, there's three I put above this one, but this is one that when I revisited, it was like kind of gobsmackingly good, and I'm just like, oh, this is one of those movies where I don't know why we're not talking about it like all the time. Um, and of course, we have to give our flowers to the late great Paul Rubens, who also has a cameo in 30 Rock, which is unbelievable. But if you haven't seen it, just well, it's not a cameo. It's a guest role in an episode, and yeah, enjoy that when you get to it. It's so fucking funny. R.I.P. King.
I have an interesting thing with the. I haven't seen that movie. I also have, and I think I might be totally wrong on this, but I think it might just be a not making it to England thing, but had no concept of Pee Wee Herman until I saw the outpouring of love when Paul Rubens passed. And then I was like, oh, people really, really like this guy and have a strong connection to this movie. And I still haven't seen, and I have no like personal connections, but I feel like I need to get around to it. But it's going to be an interesting one when I do to watch it now rather than it, because I feel like a lot of people, it was quite a formative thing that they watched when they were younger as well.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like one of the elements of Tim Burton too. That's probably why he stuck around so much. Like, it's such a formative filmography for so many people because it was like you got the superhero thing with Batman, which superheroes are. I don't know if you guys know this; they're pretty popular right now. You got the whole like emo goth phase in the emo stuff in like the 2000s, which kind of like is sort of transposed from the goth stuff that Burton really inspires and still inspires. Like everyone knows someone who's like a goth, right? Or at
Is
the
it
very
wrong
least,
to
like
say his
tangential
version
relation.
of emo and goth is the reason why Hot Topic got popular?
No, he's definitely kept Hot Topic in business.
Okay.
Like, there's no doubt in my mind. And that's again not a criticism. It's just a thing that it's like, yeah, it doesn't really affect us as individuals because we, have maybe separated our fandom of him, but it's definitely kept influencing the world and to the point where I'm kind of curious. Everyone's trying to like rip off like certain filmmakers. I don't see a lot of people try to rip off Tim Burton. Um, Someone should do that
I don't
more.
know if you can in this environment.
And maybe that's the thing, right? Because it's like, oh, these great set designs and the
Yeah.
color and the production, the art and stuff like that. And it's just like, yeah, no, we don't do that anymore.
And how many
Sorry.
animators do you see make this successful jump to live action like he did
Yeah.
too?
Yeah, that's
So
that's true. Yeah, maybe that's it. So here's, oh my God, we saved Tim Burton's career. We saved Hollywood. I think that's what we just realized.
I don't know if I want. I don't know if I want to
Okay,
make
well,
that jump.
maybe not in his career, but we have to save the things that make his work possible. People like his work possible. Work like that, you know. So
Save the cheerleader, save the world.
I
That's
didn't
what
want
I'm
to bring
hearing.
it up. I was like, no, that might be too many like references. But no, thank you for
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Yeah, save the German expressionism, save the world. Oh, I'd fuck with that. I'd fucking should do a German expressionist episode.
Yeah,
Have
you
fun with
are.
that.
You're gonna get a remake of Night of the Hunter. There's your
So
German
fuck
expressionism.
off. No, no. Anyways, Siobhan at Junkblader said their top 5 is Sweeney Todd 3 times, Pee-wee's Big Adventure twice. I'm not even mad at that. That is absolutely a correct ranking. Billy Jarrett, the great Billy
Hey,
Jarrett, Ed Wood, Mars Attacks, Batman, Edward Scissorhands, Sleepy Hollow. Genuinely surprised Batman Returns isn't there, but Batman is for Billy. I did not know that about you. I look at you differently now. No, Brandon Swafford at
wait. Does that mean
BSwaffs.
you don't like Batman Returns as much as Batman?
I think Batman Returns is far and away the superior film.
Oh,
Like
okay,
without a
okay.
doubt in my mind. Yeah. I
I
don't think
agree.
I did not realize there was competition between that. I didn't realize people still didn't like it. I knew people didn't like it when I was coming up in age.
Yeah.
But now, as I've gotten older, I'm like, no, this is clearly like the
Yeah,
best one.
yeah. No, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. But Brandon Swafford at B Swaffs, great animator and artist in his own right, good pal, good friend of the show. Number 1, Ed Wood, Corpse Bride, Edward Scissorhands, Mars Attacks, Frankenweenie. I was gonna do them off one by one, but yeah, that's the order. And he attached a great drawing that I will share and link to in the episode, but and the editing of this episode, it's up here now, so you guys can see it. And I'll share it to you guys after this. But
Sure.
so just say like, oh, it looks nice, and because you'll think that. Jacob Ewing said Burton's filmography means a lot to me, so picking favorites is tough. But if I listen to my heart, I gotta go Big Fish, Batman Returns, Sleepy Hollow, Mars Attacks, Beetlejuice. Oh, yeah, a lot of Mars Attacks love. Like this is genuinely kind of surprising to me.
Yeah. I'm starting to wonder if I should have included Mars Attacks,
Yeah.
because when it keeps getting brought up, I'm just like, every time I hear Mars Attacks, I remember a different part of Mars Attacks, and I'm like, that was crazy.
Yeah.
And I love crazy in my movies. So
Yeah. Matt, I asked Matt Garingo for his list too. I'll read it off after the next round, but yeah, it's on there as well.
Yeah.
So Jack, you're number 3.
my number 3 is Sleepy Hollow. I also rewatched that this week. It was another great movie that I hadn't seen for a long time, and I feel like I could watch it another dozen times this month, like, because it just moves so quick. It's so satisfying. It's I really forgot how viciously violent it is. There is a lot of gnarly kills in that movie. There's a lot of great actors. Got like Michael Gambon and Miranda Richardson, and
It's the Hammer movie for the
yeah,
90s. It's fucking fantastic. It's my number
100%.
1. Sorry, just to I'm not even gonna sit here and play like, yeah, that's my number 1. Oh
I
my
totally
fucking God.
get that, and I do think for me, my top 3 are kind of all almost like sharing the top spot. I really love this, and I think it will be the one I return to the most, probably, because it's such an easy, effortless watch, and it's just beautiful to look at. It's just like desaturated and but like rich, and like it moves so much. The pacing is so good because you just there's so many expectations you would have about where that narrative is going to go, about a skeptical, scientific, rational man being put into this supernatural maybe situation, and then they just confirm a lot of stuff very early. It doesn't fuck around, and yeah, and it's just got like there's a lot of good action, but there's also like some really tense scene. In particular, I remember the floorboards scene where the child is under the floorboards, terrifying me when I was younger. There's some like early sort of digital effects, which are like some don't work as well as others, but like even when it doesn't work as well as it did when I first saw it, it's still like a lot of fun. It's just like a very fun movie, despite being so dark and kind of taking a lot of it quite seriously. But yeah, no, just a fucking great movie.
Yeah, it's fucking terrific, and it was this close to going on my top ones. It's number 6 if I had to do it.
Mhm.
What I
Damn.
should have done was take out my number 1 choice and be like, I think everyone knows this is my favorite one because I don't shut up about it when I say how much I love Tim Burton. But and then like had these other 5 like step up. So I didn't do that, so I'm gonna commit though. So I'm gonna play by the rules. But yeah, Sleepy Hollow is terrific. Matt and I did the retrospective on it for good reason. Um,
Mhm.
Double feature it with Bram
Perfect.
Stoker's Dracula if you
Yeah,
guys want.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Max, number 3.
Beetlejuice. It's fun for all the reasons that's been outlined. Like that is a formative movie. Not just for me, but for so many other people. Like I think often when we think of Tim Burton, that's like probably the Tim Burton movie. If it's not the first, it's at very least the second. Um, so yeah, I think it's already been brought up, but yeah, Beetlejuice, like great movie.
Yeah. Um, Wonderful stuff. Obviously, they liked it so much they made a sequel, which we talked about for a little bit, and then realized there's probably not that much to say. My number 3 is Ed Wood, which I think was the first time I saw Tim Burton like more than just like Nightmare Before Christmas, and then realize he didn't actually direct that one. Like it was that level of like youngness. I think I must have been like 11 or 12. It was before high school when I had seen these, and then I was like, oh, this is like this isn't like this is a great movie. You have that moment sometimes when you're younger, and you're like, oh, like this is different. Like this is like really good, and I can't quite articulate it yet. And now that I'm older, I'm like, okay, it's like very clearly he's relating to this guy who is an outlier in Hollywood, and hey, maybe he's not even like that successful in the traditional sense. He's not that, maybe not even that competent, but it's just like the love of this art that is shared by Tim Burton as well. Like the love, the creation and experience and the struggles of that. It's just like it's such an open-hearted movie, and it's part of the reason why I'm like so happy to kind of root for Tim Burton again for the first time in a very long time. Like if there's any takeaway from this podcast, I hope that's clear. It's like I'm rooting for him to continue to get better again, because it's like I don't know if you have it still, but there's enough here that I'm gonna enjoy watching it regardless. Like maybe he's made the best movies he's ever gonna make already, but if I can get a little enjoyment out of it along the way, like that's okay too. So yeah, Ed Wood is, if he never makes a movie as good as Ed Wood again, like for example, like that's perfectly fine because it's that good and it helps me appreciate the rest of his stuff even more. And you know what? I'm gonna read Matt Garingo's top 5 right now
Sure.
before I read out some more tweets. So number 5 is Sleepy Hollow. Number 4 is Batman Returns. Number 3 is Ed Wood. Number 2 is Mars Attacks. And number 1 is Pee-wee's Big Adventure. That's Matt Garingo's top 5 for Tim Burton.
The very Matt list, if there ever was one.
That's an incredible Matt list. Yeah. Stay tuned for more failed fantasy blockbusters for the retrospective. Rain of Fire next week, and then recording some more stuff soon.
I'm curious about you guys' thoughts on that, because I rewatched it earlier this year. I'm like, oh, this is a great premise that they don't really do all that much with.
I mean, Gene and I talked about it a couple years back when we tried to do like this kaiju centric retrospective, and it was just like, oh, we talked about it with Richard Newby, I believe, and we were like, it's not quite there, but it's like, goddamn, I do want to go to bat for this.
Yeah,
It's like there should be more shit like this. Take those sci-fi movie concepts and give them $80 million, give them $100 million. Like I'm pro that, like let's do that. I believe some people refer to Alien Romulus as such, and I don't think that's off base, which is partly what I like about it, frankly. All right, and then some more tweets, because fucking, let me move the quote tweets. Like, Jesus Christ, I can't keep up with the notifications. So thank you, everyone, for that. People really like Tim Burton. Jake Cole at That Jake PC said Batman Returns, Ed Wood, Pee Wee's Big Adventure, Sleepy Hollow, Mars Attacks. I'm just gonna scroll and find stuff. I should have muted the tweet. It's over. I can't give up. Vanessa Guerrero at Ness Guerrero said Ed Wood, Mars Attacks, Batman Scissorhands, or Edward Scissorhands, Beetlejuice, Batman Returns. Batman Scissorhands would be an insane movie.
I'm sure it's out there.
I'm sure someone's done artwork of that.
Gonna
Yeah,
Google it right now and fuck up my search history.
yeah, go ahead. No, you know what? This is fucked. This is another rant coming at you now. Every time I look up Gene and I will work on like pitch decks and lookbooks and stuff like that. And I want like reference photos for something, and I'm like, I don't know if this exists. So let me look it up. And now, unfortunately, a bastardized version of a concept will exist. Pulling like something out of a hat, like zombie alien, right? Like that's like, oh, now it's like this is what it looks like with AI, and it's like that's
Right.
not what I'm looking
Yeah.
for, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
I'm looking to see if there is like a visual reference I can pull from. Fuck, dude. There should be like options to block AI. Someone make the plugin to block AI filter shit.
Yeah.
Because this is getting aggressively stupid. And
I don't know if it's because I live out in Europe, but I feel like I don't like this. Someone shared the other day about LinkedIn and how LinkedIn apparently like automatically puts generative AI on your page or like can use your stuff for AI. I immediately went to LinkedIn. It's not up there. And like even just now when I typed in Batman Scissorhands, no AI. It's just like terrible mashups of like people trying to talk about Tim Burton or whatever, like when I went to images, but no AI whatsoever. So I don't know. Maybe it's the United States thing. Maybe I don't know what it is, but like I feel like I don't get hit with that nearly as much.
well, you know what?
Interesting.
That's kind of like giving me hope then, because it's like, okay, maybe it is very isolated to the States right now. And clearly it's also like in the death rattle era, like it's dying. That's why they're pushing it so hard, like as a last like will, They're like, no, everyone's signing up with AI. We're all AI is so cool and good, just like NFTs, And it's like, yeah, those are still kind of a thing, but like not really. Like it's just not they never took off. It's just everyone wants to get on the ground floor of the next big thing, and
Yeah, I haven't heard NFTs in a while, but I did walk past a NFT museum the other day, and I was like, "Oh, this a thing?"
Yeah.
Also,
I think somebody said it best that they think people are trying to get in it because they're so afraid that it might be something that they don't want to miss the window, which is still a bad idea. But like, I guess I can kind of see the argument of it where it's like, but what if?
Also, like an NFT museum, like isn't that just a museum?
There's literally
no. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just gonna say the most recent series of Futurama has a whole episode long joke about there being an NFT museum and Bender trying to steal it and no one understanding what NFT actually means in the episode. So it was very weird to see it in real life as well.
Oh God.
So earlier this year, Seuss and I we went to a modern art museum because I posted a picture of us and I had on my pimp code and everything. And at the bottom of that museum in the basement, they had an NFT exhibit. And I walked past it and it was just like they were just pictures. So I was like, just walking past it, I'm like, I don't understand. They're pictures. Like what how is this any different from what's up above? Like what is this? They're just 3D images on pictures. Like okay. And I didn't understand it, but I didn't really go into like try to understand it because I was like, no, I'm good, and I left. But you're correct; they're essentially just photos. So, or they're just museums. So,
yeah, it's very, very strange stuff. I don't know what the fuck the deal is there, but I'm sorry. Who did I leave off on now? It's
you go to Jack for number 2.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Jack, number 2.
Okay, my number 2 is Edward. I came to this quite late. I actually did a dissertation on that involved bad movies and watching so bad it's good movies, that kind of thing. And so I was like, well, I should definitely watch this. This is kind of relevant, an excuse to watch this movie anyway. And it really, captures what the phrase I like to use, which I stole from someone else, bad movie love. as opposed to bad movie ridicule. I'm quoting Matthew Stroll from his book "Why It's Okay to Love Bad Movies." But yeah, that you can tell when you're watching that movie, there is an awareness of the things that Ed Wood made not being good, especially in the sense that we normally use the word good. But you can tell that Tim Burton loves him and loves what he made, and there's so much sincerity to Ed Wood's character. There's so much enthusiasm from that character and from Burton behind the scenes, and it's just like, regardless of like the failure to make a good movie, it's still like in love with the process of it all. And yeah, so I think it's a really a must watch for like people who like movies about why movies are great, even though it might not be the most obvious subject matter for that. But yeah, and the dialogue is just excellent all the way through, and the acting, yeah, it's just a wonderful movie.
Yeah. Also quite often referred to as Tim Burton's best movie, and totally get that. Like it's wonderful. Yeah. Max,
Yeah.
number 2.
Batman Returns.
All right.
It is the superior Batman movie of the 2. It might have been superior of the 4 that came out in that time period. It's great. It's Burton being let loose, for ill for the public, because apparently they don't have any taste, but for good for the rest of us who do have taste. Michelle Pfeiffer, she's wonderful. She's great. I didn't exactly have the awakening that a lot of people did when that came out, but because I was way too young to watch it. But I was just like, hey, she's great. Danny DeVito is. I look at it now and it's like, it's not really inspired. Like, of course you would get Danny DeVito to play the Penguin, but he's still great as this just little goblin man. And then Michael Keaton is he's still great. You know, that opening with him where they just shine the signal up and he's just sitting there waiting and he looks up like, oh, it's so good. I love it. Christopher Walken as Max Shrek is fantastic. Bruce Wayne, why are you dressed up as Batman? No, I love it. I watched it a few years ago during Christmas. Susan and I, we were making Christmas dinner for us, and we threw movies on the background. We had that. We had The Muppet Christmas Carol, and I think we ended the night with The Apartment, and just
oh my god, sorry. The apartment is literally my favorite movie.
Oh my god, I think we had to stop eating because we were like, this is really fucking good. Like, oh my god. But yeah, Batman was upon rewatch as a movie I watched a bunch as a kid. Like, man, that it holds up. That is probably up there with my favorite Batman movies, live action Batman movies. Great Christmas movie. There you go. Yeah, fantastic Christmas set movie. I don't know if it's Christmas in spirit, but it's Christmas in set. But yeah,
I think it is Christmas in spirit and in set. It's just a sad Christmas movie. I mean, obviously, it's my number 2 as well. I'll just say that right now to kind of segue. Obviously, did the Batman retrospectives with Matt a while back. I still stand by everything I said in the Batman Returns episode. I think I stand by everything I said in all those episodes. They're only like 5 years old, but still, sometimes I look back and I'm like, I disagree. I was probably too harsh on Prometheus or something like that, you know? But no, Batman Returns, terrific movie. Some days I think it's the best Tim Burton movie. And yeah, I guess I double everything Max says. I agree, but I just want to take time to say, like, the Penguin stuff is like extraordinarily sad to the point where it's almost like maybe this is too much. Like, I mean, for those that don't know, we talk about this in our retrospective too. Like, they canceled like the children's orders from like McDonald's and stuff like that, like the crossover toys, or like
because it was too dark.
Yeah, they couldn't like do that, and they're like, we can't like.
My first memory of Batman Returns is I was too young to see it, and a friend of mine watching it because his parents just like let him watch whatever, and my parents are more strict, and him crying, and then his mum telling my mum. So that I was like, well, great. Now I definitely can't watch it because apparently There's some scene with a nose biting incident.
That's the one scene as a kid
Right.
I covered my eyes. I was like, oh shit.
And I think when I eventually did see it, I was like, okay, this is this is beyond me a little bit. This is kind of scary, but wow, yeah.
My God, him dying at the end and Penguin dying at the end, it's so sad. He just
Mhm.
he dies and he gets carried out by the penguins and they just carry him out to the sewer. And it's so sad, but
You
damn,
know,
is it good? And
there's
then
there's
how do we
a
seal it with a kiss and the taser? It's like so good.
there's actually the I think in the Siskel and Ebert review, Siskel said that he found it hard to root for Batman because of how sympathetic they made the Penguin, and he listed that as a criticism. But then I was like, but that's like part of like why the movie's so great.
Mhm. Yeah, like it's a story about sad, broken people from different walks of life, and Batman almost can't. This isn't the text of the film. This is my reading of it now as I'm older and have, I think, a better understanding of world economics and stuff like that. Batman almost can't save Catwoman and doesn't even try to save Penguin at first. I mean, no, he understands the emotional like weight of what the Penguin feels because he himself is an orphan, right? But he almost can't save them because of his class and privilege, and their own only their circumstances like they separate them from being another Batman or something like that. That last part I do think is text of the film, that their circumstances do not allow them to be anything more than what they're allowed to become. And there's like it's so sad, it's so fucking tragic. And then
Yeah,
Michelle Pfeiffer obviously is like a godsend as Catwoman, and maybe Danny DeVito's best performance. Keaton's terrific, and the ending, like nothing's really like no one's better off. I wouldn't say anything is not resolved. But I'll just say I'm very glad that when I revisited those movies for the first time a couple of years back, like I'm glad that they followed up immediately with two happier films, imperfect in their own ways, arguably one more than the other. But like Batman Forever, I'm like, okay, like he's gonna be okay. At the end of Batman Returns, I don't know if he's gonna be okay. I don't know if the world's better off at the end of that
yeah,
movie. But Batman Forever, I'm like, okay, at least I can people are smiling again, Like
yeah. I'm gonna take this opportunity to blend the conversation together because this is my number one film.
mhm.
Absolutely love Batman Returns. And I
Yeah.
think like they really there is a real sense in the city. The city itself has this atmosphere to it. It feels like this really cold, alienating place where people have these isolating experiences that they go through, traumatic things like happens to the Penguin, that like happens to Bruce and Selena, and then they all just react in different ways depending on their circumstances. And like, I just really love the way that uh, Bruce and Selena and Catwoman and Batman come together as like kind of like kindred souls in this as both kind of freaks in this city. And that ballroom scene
Oh,
where they figure it out
oh
is
my
just like one of
God.
the all-time like favorite cinematic moments for me. But yeah, no, I mean there's only a couple of things about it I don't really like, and they were things that apparently like were studio mandated. Like some of the stuff with the Penguin's big plan at the end. Like I like how it ends, but like the climactic nature of it, not so much. And also that final Catwoman shot feels kind of like uh undercuts how great the rest of the ending is for me. But like those are literally like the only two slight uh issues I have with the movie. The rest is just it's just yeah, so perfect Christmas movie, perfect Batman movie, even though I mean it doesn't seem like behind the scenes they were that interested in uh the material. There's I've just read some stuff about them deliberately kind of like using the law as like kind of like a launching off point rather than trying to bring it like directly adapt any characters. But it just works. Yeah. So I don't know how you guys feel about that as like Batman fans. Like the differences, because I know some people don't feel like it's Batman to them, but I'm kind of limited in my Batman comic knowledge, but yeah, I just love Batman Returns so much.
Yeah.
I think I might be the bigger Batman fan of us. But I don't mind.
Yeah.
It for me, them just taking the lore and that's a launching point. That's a feature, not a bug to me. And there are times when I do want them to maybe be closer towards the lore of the comics, but like them just making their own thing. As a teenager, as a younger person, I probably would have like scoffed. But as an adult, I'm like, fuck that. Like the movie's great. Like I don't care at all. Do what you want. I'll take 5 more if you got them.
Yeah, I try to like decipher like when I'm okay with them changing like characterizations or whatever, right? Not I'm not someone who tends to demand a certain thing. Although maybe Spider-Man should have fought Tony Stark instead of being his buddy or whatever. But I think I'm cool when it's like such a specific artist, like an artist bringing themselves to a project. And it is
Yeah.
such a Tim Burton movie. It is a quintessential Tim Burton movie in a lot of ways. That as someone who does love Batman, like I don't care if he like blows someone up and like smirks while he's doing it and this because it's like I'm not coming to this for Batman. I'm coming to this for Tim Burton, you know? So like it's not what I would do, but that's okay. I'm not Tim Burton. I want to see what Tim Burton does. And on that level, you know, bring it on. You know, I would have seen a third Tim Burton Batman movie. Do you guys know the conversation that happened when both him and Warner Brothers realized they weren't going to work together on a third movie?
No, I don't think so.
It's an offhand thing. It's even like on the Wikipedia and they're like, you know, they're it sounded like this was kind of a difficult production. Something about superhero movie sequels get very difficult unless you're a corporate yes man, right? I'm sure for a lot of reasons. And like I guess like one of the last conversations they had at the table was like, so you know, so what do you we want you to come back for the third one, Tim? Like, you know, what do you know, feeling like, you know, we could have worked stuff out. And he's like, no, you don't. Because like I was like, yeah, no, we want you back. He's like, no, you don't. Like, you're good, right? It was just like, okay, this relationship is over now. Like, I just think that's very funny.
Yeah. I mean, I would really like it is. I don't think it's really possible now, but I think
Which
it
is
is kind of
funny
a
because he did come back with them a year later, like 4 years later for Mars Attack. So our
Yeah.
relationship wasn't completely dissolved. It was just
No,
like
no, I think it was
we're
just
back
for the
together.
Batman stuff. They were like, we want this, and he was like, no, you're
yeah.
good. I'm good. You're good. We're both good. So goodbye.
Yeah, it feels like a very like he maybe gets some more control to put in more of those Tim Burton elements here than he does in Batman. And Batman I do love, but I do think like for me I was trying to decide between if I'm deciding between the two Batman movies to include in here, it's an easy choice. And this is more quintessentially Burton to me. And I think like that's what you want in superhero movies now is that kind of like seeing an artist's particular vision sort of like create a world and their take on a character. And I think it sounds like it was kind of like a difficult process for Burton at the time. And the things of like the clash of like what he wanted to make versus like the merchandising they've done with McDonald's and everything like that almost feels like foreboding of like, you know, the direction things would go and how hard it will be to like do something like that again.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I'm appreciating it just as an artistic staple more so now than ever. Um, I'll read out some more responses, then we'll jump to Max. Even though you already said your number one, but you can talk about it as well. Max, do you know someone named Dan Hassler Forrest?
Yes.
Oh,
So he's a famous Dutch professor. I actually I retweeted it and then I also retweeted it from the A4E account. So throughout that somehow it reached him. He doesn't follow me on my main account. Maybe he follows A4E. I don't know. But yeah, he's a quite famous Dutch professor on like pop culture and movies. He has movie takes I don't always agree with, but he is very smart.
yes. Well, he responded to this, and he's also currently writing a book on the Fast and Furious franchise, which I did not know.
Oh wow.
So his top five Tim Burton is from 5 to 1 this time: Sleepy Hollow, Pee Wee, Batman Returns, Ed Wood, and Sweeney Todd.
Hmm.
So
I feel like I really need to see Pee Wee.
you do. It's a great
That's what I'm
movie.
learning today.
Very surprised at the Sweeney Todd one. Mr. Chow, the great Mr. Chow, one of our best posters at Sriracha Chow. I love that handle. Beetlejuice, Ed Wood, Batman Returns, Pee Wee, Edward Scissorhands. So, I think we at some point there's too many people responding, so they just settle into the classics. I will do my best, Max. I will edit this episode. I'm gonna do my best to just keep posting the screen caps as they come in. I cannot promise I'm even gonna get half of these at this point. Which I'm thankful for the responses, but yeah, apologies if I didn't read or shout yours out,
I
people.
can also edit the episode. I don't mind.
I mean, that's a lot of screen caps. Are you sure? It's
Actually, you
really
know what? Now
fine.
that you
Yeah.
mention it, I don't know how to do that, so you go right ahead.
Okay. I'll walk you through it after the episode. But I'll do. Don't worry about it. Max, number one.
It's well, first off, Matt Reeves, if the rumors are true, if you don't make the Batman Part 2 set during winter, the Christmas, I will be slightly disappointed. Because you've been saying some stuff recently I don't necessarily agree with. Anyways, number one is Sleepy Hollow. It is Hammer as fuck. As someone who came into Hammer very recently, within the last 3-4 years, basically at the start of the pandemic, I have fallen utterly in love with that series, and this is sort of Tim Burton's love ode to that. It's smacked to the brim with all the British thespians. It's brooding. It's gothic. It's got fantastic set design. The blood is red as shit. No, I love it. I watched it a couple years ago. And I think I'm gonna probably watch it again this year because it's a very good like lead in to Spooktober. And yeah, I have so much fun with it. The Headless Horseman is unfortunately only relegated to Sleepy Hollow, and I think that is a character that could do a lot more. Diego knows a little bit about that on my end. But no, I love it, top to bottom. To be honest, it does battle it out constantly with Batman Returns for my favorite, because both feel almost quintessential Burton, and I really can't decide. But because we're on the doorstep of Spooktober, I'm gonna go with Sleepy Hollow. I just think it's fantastic, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. Great tagline. Heads will roll.
Yeah, that's terrific. Also, a great song by the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. So,
Yeah, it
gotta check
is.
that out. Fuck. Okay, I'll just read a couple more and then I'll do mine. Then we can wrap up. Robbie Loves Film at Let It Rip Bear. Nice. Season 4 of The Bear coming 2025. Ed Wood, Batman, Beetlejuice, Sweeney Todd, Frankenweenie. I haven't seen Big Fish, Corpse Bride, or Pee Wee's Big Adventure. We've always talked about Pee Wee and Big Fish, but Corpse Bride, I will say, I think is fine. I will say, I love stop motion animation, and I don't know if the movie works out entirely outside of the wonderful production design and animation. But I know some people really love it, so maybe I haven't seen it pop up on these lists unless I forgot. So,
It's a rarity amongst the Mars Attacks and the Batman Returns and the Ed Woods.
Yeah. At the Real Matt C, front of the show. Sleepy Hollow, Ed Wood, Batman Returns, Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands. So yeah, so now we're settled into like the classics. At Brian Hurst, at Hurst Killies, clever. Very few filmmakers have a definitive top 5, but Burton does. 2 Batmans, Beetlejuice, and 2 Eds. So I'll do my top 5 outside the top 5, which I thought was interesting.
Oh.
Sleepy Hollow, Big Fish, Mars Attacks, Beetlejuice, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. That's the first time I've ever seen someone put Miss Peregrine on the top 5. So
the only reason I have a fond spot for that is because it played out here when I was working at Movie Tavern. That's when Suits and I were in the middle of dating, and that's when we first met. And I don't know, I remember seeing chunks of the movie. I don't care. I just know that beautiful Florence and the Machine song plays at the end. And I'm like, that just made me think of Seuss. So I'm just like, that's my only like soft spot is that Florence and Machine song.
No, that's great. I mean, look, everyone's going to have different responses and stuff for a million reasons. You know, sometimes you're like, that's the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen. And then someone else is like, well, I have this very specific memory attached to it. And it's like, what are you going to do? Shit on their memory? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not
It's
going
not
to.
even the movie. It's just for the song that plays during the credits.
Yeah, but that impacted you. So I'm not gonna shit on that. You know, that's great. That's good that you have that memory. That's wonderful. Art impacts us in different ways, even bad art, you know. And then someone's gonna come out and you're like, oh, they actually Miss Peregrine was dedicated to my father and something sad, and then be like, well, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say to that? You know what I mean? It's fine. It's fine. Everyone has different stuff. Um, yeah. So I yeah, there's a lot. Thank you very much for the responses. There's even like some letterbox links thrown my way, and I was like, I can't go through all that, but thank you. I guess I'll just do my number one now then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Big Fish. I think Big Fish is.
Oh,
I
damn.
don't. Here's the
Okay.
thing: is it Burton's best? I don't really know. I think as I get older, I could see sort of the rough around the edges nature of it, like the Burton has lost his way a bit. But I think it is such a beautiful movie. It is one of his more open-hearted movies. Like I think that's what I like about Burton. It's best stuff. It's like it's very sincere and not kitschy, like Charlie and the Chocolate
Mhm.
Factory. Um, but I think it's also like Ed Wood, like another ode to like why people tell these stories. Like no, like real life isn't that. Like real life is more complicated. The stories the dad tells his kid in the movie, like they're not true, but something about them is truthful. And yeah, the last 20 minutes, like I'm gonna like tear up just thinking about it right now. Like it's
Yeah.
so good. And just where I am in my life, like my own father passed away, like that's gonna I give that movie another watch. It's gonna fucking destroy me.
Yep.
There's no coming back from that one. Um, but yeah, that ending, that's like that's why I go to the movie. It's like the way it sticks that landing, I think, so beautifully. Um, in relation to the father and the son characters, and I've never once not thought happy thoughts about how it wraps up with them by the pool and like the barbecue at the end, Jack. You know what I'm talking about?
Hmm.
When like his own son is saying like, "Oh, isn't that true, Dad?" And he's like, "Yep, sure is." And it's like gonna,
Hmm.
you know, it's not so much
Yeah.
like the cycle continues in like a negative way. It's just like, oh, it's like these stories are gonna be carried down from generation to generation to generation, and you know, some will be truthful, some will not be, but something about them will impact someone. And it's like at the end of the day, that's why these stories are told. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
really wonderful film.
Yeah. It's just earnest, the, it really captures that beautifully. And also it's quite clear where it's going very early on, but it doesn't affect how hard it hits. It's very direct about what it's doing, about what the central message of the film is, but it's just done really well.
Yeah. So that I think that's just gonna be my favorite Burton forever. Um, although Batman Returns, that fucking every time I'm like, that's the best one. Or you know what, that might be the best one. I just don't know if it's my favorite one. But yeah,
Yeah,
I'm glad I looked back at Tim Burton stuff, and I'm glad I saw Beetlejuice. Jack, thanks for coming on.
no problem.
Any final thoughts on Tim Burton or uh Batman Returns? Because
Well,
that's the best shit ever.
um, I think I think this exercise was really interesting. Of that, you try and put them in the top five, you end up having ones that are just outside of it that you want to include. That you can see, I can see my own top five changing after I rewatch a couple of these, or see some of the ones I haven't seen yet that people seem to really love. But also the responses you're getting, it's just it's interesting getting those kind of responses in the same on the same social media platforms where people will be like throwing Burton under the bus for like a lot of the time very good reasons. But like as soon as you start talking about the good stuff he's made, it kind of like reignites the fire. You're like, oh yeah, he made this. Oh yeah, he made this. And you just once you return to those things, there's a lot of really good ones that he's done. And I wouldn't even have considered him to be one of my favorite filmmakers, but like now I'm realizing how many of my favorite movies were made by him.
Yeah, really well said. I think that exact explanation is the feeling I get watching Big Fish. That feels like a summation of that. you know, where I'm like, oh, like, I don't really like this. I don't know. And then I'm like, oh, I will miss his work when he is no longer with us. Not that he's that old. I'm just thinking about that in the context of Big Fish and looking back at people's filmographies, you know, who've been in our lives for our entire lives, and it's like they're not always going to be around, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
clearly he's doing very well. He's with Monica Bellucci, so I'm
Yeah.
not worried about him departing
Also,
anytime soon.
Also, he was very good friends with Vincent Price, which is what I'm personally very jealous of.
Yeah. God.
Yeah, that's great. Before we go to Max, having just seen that Vincent short film, which I really will recommend, and it'll be in the description below, a YouTube link. Do you know what Vincent Price said about that short film?
I do not. If
He
you're
said,
asking me right now.
yeah, well, it was to both of you, but I should have specified. He said it was like better than like getting like a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Like it felt like that immortalized him.
Wow.
And just like imagine hearing that from like someone you're that big a fan of.
That's
Yeah.
the equivalent of Scorsese like saying, "Hey, Ari Aster, I love your movies." It's like that's
Yeah.
If Scorsese said that to me, I'd be like, I don't have to make a single fucking thing the rest of my life. Scorsese said I'm the shit.
Yeah.
Fuck you, I'm retiring. I'm going on a high note.
Yeah, I would ride that shit till the day I died. My ego would explode. There'd be no coming back.
Yeah, you'd make Charlie in the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, you would lose touch with reality. That's where, and now he's back down to earth, and there's hope again.
Yeah.
But again, Jack, thanks for joining us. Max, what do you got? Where can people find you? Oh yeah, Jack, sorry. Where can people find you? I'll put links below, but where can people find you right now as well?
Okay, so I'm using Blue Sky more these days. So jalexg is my username there. Same thing for Letterboxd, and also my podcast, That 90s Spider-Man Show. Me and my friend Henry, we just talk about the Spider-Man 90s cartoon and some of the Spider-Man comics, and have a good time with that. So check that out if you want to hear some people talk some shit about nostalgic pop culture.
Oh yeah, and also the Year of Craven is back on, right?
Oh my god, the Year of Craven.
No.
The Year of Craven. Yep, last year was the Year of Craven. This year is still the Year of Craven. Craven's been delayed like 5 times. Like they could just keep pushing that back and then not release it, and that would be fine.
Are you craving it?
You know what's fucked up? You know what's genuinely fucked up?
You're looking forward to it?
I've heard it's pretty good. Which is a psychotic thing to hear, but whatever. We'll see. I've heard that shit before too.
I love you, Diego, but like I just don't believe you.
No, I don't believe. I'm just saying. This is what I've heard. They're like, hey.
I think you had a dream.
I mean, maybe. Yeah. You know, who knows?
Look, it can't be worse than Madam Web, right?
No. Yeah. Shout out to Max for going through that with me. That was unfortunate. Although perhaps better directed than other recent ventures, in spite of.
I would not.
I don't need to get
disagree
back
with
into
it.
that.
You know what? No, it's more entertaining. I had more entertainment watching that at midnight with you. I did the $1 billion grocer.
Yeah. No, I'll fucking say it. Like, I don't think Madam was like bad, like in all the ways you heard, but I didn't think it was that much worse, and arguably even better than like the last 2 Spider-Man movies. But live action Spider-Man movies, live action. But yeah, hey, I'm just one guy here talking to my pals, including Max. Thanks for joining me. Where people find you?
You can find me ODSC Spartan on Twitter, on Discord as well. You can also find me running the A4E account, Action for Everyone, and the Discord that we have for that, the Action for Everyone Discord. Join us. It is where all action, the action community can be found. Our latest episode we just had was a bit of a wrap up on Big Bad Film Fest, talking a little bit about Rebel Ridge, and having a good time all around.
Yeah, and again, always thanks for the help and thanks for hearing out my weird pitches I send you over WhatsApp. Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks for responding to the literal last minute crowdsourcing thing. Like and subscribe if you didn't like our rankings in this episode or Beetlejuice. Like and subscribe anyways because you'll find something you do like. Thanks everyone We have been professionally unprofessional. I'm gonna get down on you, Habit. I'm not saying if you didn't like this episode, you better have liked this episode if you stayed to the fucking end. I'm just saying. All right, goodbye, everyone.